All right, welcome to the first meeting for AppreneurPro. I'm Shelly Turner, and I am actually an app developer. I've developed probably close to 200 apps, and probably over that now. But I've published to iPhone, Android, and Kindle, and I've done a lot with apps, and I'm super excited because I get to show you guys how we're going to use mobile applications to create a recurring income for yourself, for your family, and I love it. If you're a tech geek like me, I actually love building mobile apps. Now, you may be afraid of it a little bit because a lot of people think that building mobile apps is something that you have to be like super duper smart to do, and you need to be able to program and code, and you need to have a bunch of money to pay for coders if you don't know how to code. But the neat thing is that mobile apps have changed a lot over the last few years, and there's a lot of companies out there that provide really neat ways of grabbing templates and pulling them in and just editing templates, or you can even build it from scratch, but they've got an app builder that you can use where you can do almost like a drag and drop situation and build your apps from scratch so that you don't have to know coding, you don't have to know programming, and actually you don't even have to know anything about apps to get started. Now, there is a learning curve, and the learning curve is more about the platforms that you're going to publish to than it is actually making the app. Making the app is easy. Publishing is sometimes the hard part. And when I talk about publishing being the hard part, usually it's really easy to publish to Amazon platform for Android and for Kindle. And usually it's relatively easy to publish to Google. The hard one is iPhone. They're real strict about the app, and they want to make sure that it is unique and it is user-friendly, and all that stuff is really important. So when you publish to iPhone, they're very strict about their review process. And if you don't have a uniqueness, you don't have a nice app, it's user-friendly, they'll reject it. Everybody gets rejected. I've been rejected with Apple. Lots of people have been rejected with Apple. You just take that and you look at what the reasons why they rejected you, and then you just fix it and move on. So to me, that's the hardest part, is the publishing part. The easy part is actually making it, and that part is actually fun. If you've ever built a website in the past, you'll find that it's really similar to that, building a website. Now, today we're going to just talk about the basics of building mobile apps and what I'm going to be teaching you inside this inside this course and inside this training. So there's a lot to do with mobile apps. There's so many different features, and just like when you're learning how to build a website, right? The first thing you learn how to do is kind of put content in a website. But then you learn how to do the neat stuff like doing flashing text or doing something that flies in, or putting in an opt-in box so you can get emails and names. And so there's a learning curve with that, right? You start off simple and then you start doing some advanced stuff. So that's what we'll do in this training. We'll start off really simple and build some really simple apps that are real easy to make and may not even pass the litmus test to get published because they're so simple, and there's 50 bazillion of them already on the App Store. And then we'll progress into some more advanced stuff. So you can do things like RSS feeds, you can input YouTube videos, or you can input audio. You can pull in a full website into an app. You can do membership areas. There's a lot of things you can do. So we'll start simple and then move from there. So what are the things that you need to go through this app course? So that's really important. Obviously, you can't start from scratch and not have any tools. So there are tools that we're going to need to have. And the first one is you need to make sure you have an app template platform. And the perfect one for that is Builderall. Builderall has a wonderful app developer platform, and you can use that to develop your own apps. Now, it is a great app builder, very easy to use, and there's another one that we'll work with as well, and that's iCardinal Apps App Builder. And it's similar to Builderall's, but it's got a few more features in there that we'll take advantage of to be able to build the more advanced the more advanced features that you want in your app. So we're going to be building with two different builders, the Builderall App Builder and the iCarner Apps App Builder. And you'll find more information on the AppreneurPro website, which is AppreneurPro.com. And I'm going to enter that into the chat so you guys can see it. So AppreneurPro.com. So on that website, you'll find information about being in the app program and how to build apps. And you'll see training that'll show up there. And then we also have a new YouTube channel that you can check out and get training there. So lots of resources to be able to build apps. The next thing I want to tell you about is what kind of money can you make with building apps? Now, I get asked this all the time. And it is a really good question because obviously you don't want to jump into app building and spend a lot of time learning something and you can't make money at it. So let's talk about app building and what kind of money you can make at it. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you guys can see a couple of things that will kind of give you an idea of what you can do with app building. So I'm going to go, let's see here, I think. And this is the first thing I wanted to show you is CNN Money did a report that came out in 2018, I believe at the very beginning of 2018. And it listed the best jobs in America, all the best jobs that you can get in America and why they were the best jobs. And number one was actually mobile app developer. And let's take a look at why they named it the best job in America. The first thing is the pay. The median pay, which means the kind of the average pay of what app developers get, was $97,000 per year. That is actually totally correct. In the apps that I've built, it is very much an easy thing to get $100,000 a year. Top pay is $133,000. I say that you can go way over that if you're a hustler. If you get in there and you're motivated and you hustle and get those contracts and get those businesses to build for, you'll make more than that, which is great. The other thing about mobile apps is you don't just get the money on the front end for building the app. Remember that you get hosting fees, which means when you host the mobile app, you house the information for the mobile app and it's connected to the platforms where you're going to publish. So Apple and Google and Amazon, you can charge a fee for that. And it's not unreasonable for a basic app to charge $50 a month. So if you have 100 customers at $50 a month, that gives you a residual income of $5,000. Now, are you going to get 100 customers like that? No. You're going to have to pound the pavement, find those businesses, get your apps built, and get them active so that you can get that recurring income. But it is very doable. And if you have bigger, better, and more complicated apps, you charge more per month for the hosting. So that's the actual money that you're looking for. And that's the one that I like the most, is the residual income that you get when you publish those apps and you're charging that company every month to host. So the growth from CNN's report says that it's set to grow 19% over the next 10 years. So the thing is, this is a job that's not going to go away, and you're not going to, have a depression in it where you lose money. You're going to continually be able to get customers and get money and get that residual hosting fee. So I love the fact that CNN Money designated this as the #1 job, because I absolutely believe it. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirts. So I know it's a good job, and I know that you can make good money. So let's talk about why it's great. So it says that mobile app developers are the ones that get to test the latest phones and tablets and stuff like that first. That is an absolute truth. I have a collection of phones. I have iPhones. I have Android phones. I have several different Kindles. I have several different tablets. I have several different iPads. I have a collection of stuff that it's stacked at least this high of different devices that I use so that when I'm building my apps, I can test them on all the devices. That is super important. But the cool factor is that I've got all those devices. When I travel, I take my favorite devices with me, and I'm able to build apps and test apps and do all that kind of stuff on the fly. And it's great because if a new iPad comes out, I have the money and I have a reason to go and get that latest iPad, even if it's, $1,200. I have the money and I have a reason to get that. And all of it is business related. And I'm not a tax person, so please don't quote me on this, but talk to your tax person about how buying these devices can be a tax deduction, because it is directly involved with your business and being able to test your apps. So if you like technology and you like being the first to get new technology, app building is a great position, because you'll be able to do that because you'll have the money and you'll have the reason. So I love the quality of life ratings that they give with this. So the personal satisfaction, they gave it an A. Absolutely. I made a mobile app for a restaurant, and that restaurant wanted a full menu inside their app. And they wanted it to be able to allow the customer to go through that app and purchase. And I had not done that yet, right? So I had to go through that process of learning how to do that. And I'm telling you, the satisfaction I got when I was able to tackle that, figure it out, and implement it was absolutely incredible. And what's funny is it wasn't really about the money. It was about being able to do it. And then once I did that the first time, it was actually easier to do the next restaurants with a full menu, and able to order through the menu. So very, very exciting. And it does give you a level of personal satisfaction that's beyond just getting money. You've accomplished something, you've provided a service that's really valuable, and you've been successful. So personal satisfaction to me is like an A+, or A++. So benefit to society, it says a C, but I disagree with that. I think that the benefits are actually great, because when you create an app, you're putting information, services, products right there in their hands. So you're creating an easy way to access things. And I think the benefits are definitely there. If you've got a store, you can put your store inside an app so that whoever's buying from your store, it gets right there. It's at their fingertips. If you've got a nonprofit and you build an app, that's information about that nonprofit right at their fingertips. My son actually works at a science center, and I am dying to do their app so that we can have everything that science center does right at their fingertips, and they can find out information, they can find out times, they can buy things, they can buy tickets, all that kind of stuff. So it is amazing what you could do with an app in that nonprofit. It will be just an additional benefit for them. So benefit to society, I think it's there. It may not be an A, but I might call it a B, but not a C. That means it's average, and apps are not average. Telecommuting is listed as an A. I would call it an A++, because you can build apps anywhere that you've got an internet connection and a laptop. You can't really do it on an iPad or an iPhone or anything like that. But if you've got a laptop and you've got an internet connection, you're going to be able to build apps. So another reason that this is such a great position. And then low stress, they actually categorize that as an A. If you get deep down and dirty in it, and you actually have customers, businesses, when you deal with businesses, this is their livelihood. And if you're talking about a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 app, it does create a little bit of stress. They're spending a lot of money and they want to see results. So as far as low stress, I would maybe not categorize it as an A. I might say an A- or a B+, because sometimes there is stress. And with anything that you're working on, as far as building a website or building an app or even doing software coding, that you put a date, and that date is really arbitrary. You're just guessing the best you can when you're going to get everything done. And sometimes you don't hit those dates like you plan for various reasons. But one of the things that I would suggest that you do in building apps is that you give a time period that is beyond what you believe that you can do. What I call that is under-promising and over-delivering. So if you think you're going to deliver something actually by August the 1st, say something like September or October 1st. And what that does is it gives you time to really focus on building a quality product, and you're not stressed and pushing. And remember, we want to get that stress level to an A, right? We want to keep it low stress. So push those dates out. And if you meet it by the later date, you go over time of what you thought you could do, you still got some cushion time in there to not make the customer mad. If you get it done early, they're going to be like, wow, you said October the 1st and you delivered August the 1st. This is great. I've never had this experience. So under promise, over deliver on apps. And you'll find out that the customers actually really like that. And you need to go into building apps as not, I can build it and have it ready for you tomorrow. Because like a website, it is complicated and there are outside factors that you actually have no control over. And one of those outside factors is getting it published. When you submit to have your app published, it can take a while to get it reviewed and approved. And if it's reviewed and rejected, you have to figure out, okay, what did I do wrong? How do I fix it? And then you have to submit again. So there are real issues that come up with building an app and setting a time frame of when you're going to get it done. So just remember, pick your date that you want to have it done, and then go out from that date for the customer to tell the customer when you can have it done. That way the customer doesn't get too frustrated. And you make sure to keep the stress low to make sure that we do have that A level for stress instead of that A- or B+. I absolutely love this article and what they said about app development, because all of it's true. Every single bit of this is true, that the pay is great, the job growth potential is definitely there, and all of these quality of life ratings with the personal satisfaction, benefits, telecommuting, and low stress, they're all very, very accurate. So I'm super excited that they rated this as #1 new job in the US. So now let's talk about how much money you can make. You know that it's a great job to have, very little stress, a lot of satisfaction. So let's talk about the money, because that's what we're here for. So I'm going to go ahead and click how much money can you make. And this is an article that's on fuel.com. And it says, how much money can you earn with an app? So we're going to go down through here and take a look. And it says that the mobile market is growing and it's continuing to grow. There are literally billions of apps just on the iPhone devices. And Android, it's even easier to publish. So there's billions of apps on the Android platform. And I think it's going to continue to grow as people figure out how to build apps, and they really laser target apps. It used to be that apps were just games, right? And you had some productivity apps, but outside of that, there weren't a whole lot of apps. Well, now you can find apps that teach you how to do underwater basket weaving, or they teach you how to take care of your animals. There's just so many apps. It's really up to you to figure out how you can creatively put something into an app to be able to put it onto the App Store. It says in 2017, mobile traffic accounted for 63% of the total traffic in the United States. I totally agree. Everybody's got their phone with them. Everybody's looking up stuff on the internet. Everybody's downloading the latest and greatest apps. And to give you an example of an app that you can create that's not the normal app, one of the things that we do here where I'm living is we have a Mid-South Renaissance Fair. And for the fair, I actually built their mobile app. And what the mobile app did was the attendees could download the app and find all of the activities on the app and a map so that they could find where the activities were at. So they could click on the app, find out where the activities were, and it was a huge, huge area. Like they rented out an entire, half a mile wide area. And so there was activities everywhere inside groves and on stages. They had several different stages. And this app actually told everyone where those things were at. And it was a really neat way to do an app. I did another one that was a Harry Potter fest. And they did an entire building and the outside of the building. So the app was built to be able to help attendees find all the different activities and the times that they started so they could get there on time. So those two are activity-based apps, which is an event-based apps. So those actually are really cool apps. And some other apps that I've built were apps that I built from public domain products. So I found a place that has audio of books that are free. And to give you an example of that, here's one of them that's called LibriVox. And LibriVox has MP3s of any public domain book. And you can take these recordings, these MP3 recordings, and put them into an app. Now, they're free, and you can use them in an app, but you have to pay them if you make money off of selling that app. But one of the things that you can do, which is kind of roundabout, is you can put these in the app and then put advertising in the app. And then you offer the app for free in the App Store. And if they click on the advertising, you make money if they buy anything from the advertising. So it's like an affiliate type situation. So that's another way you can make money. So that's LibriVox is the source that I use. There's a couple of other ones as well, but LibriVox is one of the most popular. But you can see they've got tons and tons of books available, and you just click on the book. Like here's one by Anne Wells Abbott, and she's got Autumn Leaves, original pieces in prose and verse, so it must be poetry. So if I click on that, it's got all of the different audio right there. I can download those and then add them to my app and then publish that app. And I can download the entire book, or I can subscribe or even do an RSS feed. So there's a lot of ways that I can do this. And then inside the app, I have advertising. So I'm giving away the app for free, but I make money off of the affiliate advertising. So that's one way I can make money from apps. Those are apps that I build for myself instead of building for other businesses. So let's continue with this article. In the US, 3.3 of the almost 6 hours per day that adults spend consuming digital media occurred on smartphones. So desktops, laptops, and other devices, we use them, but our mobile phones, because they're right here at our fingertips, they are used the most for sure. So which platforms make the most money for app developers? The Android definitely makes more money for me. And that's because it's harder to get things approved on Apple. So I can get 10 Android apps approved for every one that I get for Apple, because it just takes so long for them to approve. So I would say that the Android platform makes me more money than the Apple platform does. But even though it's like 10 to 1, I still get good money from Apple. It's just that it's slower to get them reviewed and published. But the Android platform is definitely the best among developers, making $97,000, and then Apple is $96,000. And there's another one that's not even listed in here, and that's Amazon. Amazon has an app store, and you can upload Android apps, and there's also a way to do Kindle apps. And then when you talk about apps, you don't want to limit it to just your smartphones. You can actually build apps for Roku, and you can build apps for Google Chromecast and for the Fire Stick. There's a lot in the Fire TVs. And I actually have a Roku channel where I publish my training on the Roku channel, and people can pay me to get the information to install the Roku channel on their Roku, and then they can watch all the training that I have. So lots of ways to use apps, and those are just additional ways. Plus, you've got TVs now that are smart TVs, and some of those have ways to be able to create your own apps and have them added to the smart TV. So if you've got a training series or a video blog series or informational show or something like that, you can build apps and publish them to the smart TVs and Google Chromecast and Roku, Fire Stick, all of those, and actually have another income stream coming from that. What kind of revenue can we talk about when you build apps? If you're building business to business, and this is probably the best way to start out is business to business. Well, the best way is to start out with you building for yourself first, so you can kind of figure out how to do it, but there's not a lot of money in that. once you establish how to publish and get that first one published, so it's no longer a mystery, then you move to business. That's when you start building for restaurants, hair salons, lawyers, nonprofit groups, events like the Harry Potter Fest and the Renaissance Fair. And then you start creating real money, because you make money off of the front end for building it, and then you make the recurring money from hosting. And there's no doubt, we talked about this before, you can make a profit. This is not like gross money. This is profit money of $100,000 a year. Now, are you going to make that in the first month? Absolutely not. You've got a learning curve that you have to go through, and you need to learn how to do it. The learning curve is not steep on how to build it, but the process of publishing is one of the challenging things for everybody. Is publishing to Amazon easy, publishing to Google pretty easy, and then publishing to Apple, that's the challenge because of their review process. So another thing that you might be thinking about is games. Like, oh, I want to create a game. Well, here's the thing about games. About 5 years ago, people were just scrambling to make games. And we had things like Angry Birds and just a ton of other games. And what happened is people figured out that that was a money-making machine. So what they did was they took the games and they just created the exact same game. They just reskinned them and published them. And Apple was okay with that. Google was okay with that. Amazon was okay with that. But what happened was there was just an absolute flood of the same exact games, just looking a tad bit different. So Amazon, Google, and Apple have all changed, and it's not so easy to do games anymore. You have to have a truly unique game that doesn't already exist, and it has to be usable, easy to use for the user, and provides a unique experience for the user. So it's harder, a lot harder, to get games into the store. And then once you get them into the Apple Store, the Google Play Store, and Amazon, then it's hard to get your app up front where everybody can see it. So games, to me, are not something that I want to venture into. And so you won't be learning how to do games. Even though we have some games that we can add into the apps, we won't be learning how to do full-blown game apps like Angry Birds in this training. We're going to focus more on business-to-business type apps, and also your individual apps where you can set it up to earn money recurring when you're not building for a business. So that's kind of what we'll be learning in this particular training series. We also can make some subscription apps. So let's say that you're a person that has a video blog, or you've got a magazine that comes out monthly or something like that. You can actually set it up so that people can access a membership area, and the only way to get to that membership area is to pay. So subscription apps are really good too, and you can do that for yourself, or you can do that for other people as a business-to-business contract. And those make good money as well. So apps aren't just for mobile phones. We talked about that already. There's smart TVs and Roku and Google Chromecast. And you'll find out when you publish, especially to Amazon, it will ask you, do you want to make this app available to the Android, to Kindle, to the Fire Stick, to the Fire TV? What all do you want to put this on? And then when you publish to Apple, they'll ask you, do you want it for the iPhone, for the iPad, for the Apple TV, for whatever. That there's just tons of resources out there, and you can get it ready to publish for any of those. So that's another cool thing. And then, of course, we've got the wearable devices like the iWatch right now. We've got an iWatch and even Android watches, and you can build apps for those as well. So really, really cool stuff. And then what's the next thing for app development? No doubt about it, the next thing is called progressive web apps, where instead of publishing to Apple or Google Play or to the Amazon store, you can actually publish your app on the internet, and the user can take that link and put it onto their phone instead of downloading it from one of the stores, and they will have the app right there on the phone. So it's pretty incredible. Progressive web apps are definitely coming, and it's huge. Another huge thing that we won't get to really dive into because we don't have that capability yet, and that is virtual reality. And virtual reality is becoming huge as well. If you've checked it out at all, you know Oculus is out there and a bunch of other types of platforms and devices, and they are super cool. And those I think are going to be huge as well. And then the smart TVs are getting bigger, so there's going to be more openings for building apps for smart TVs. And then wearable devices are definitely getting bigger, and there are going to be more opportunities to build apps for those devices. So lots of different things coming, and I've actually gone over my time by a couple minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and come back into stop sharing my screen. And I'll see if there are any questions. No questions. And anyway, each week on Monday at 9 o'clock Central, which would be 10 o'clock Eastern time, we'll actually have this training, and I'll go over specifics of how to get into the Builderall mobile app builder and start building, and then the iCardinal apps mobile app builder and start building. So we will actually move forward with more training and more information on how to build your apps. And then, of course, I'll spend time showing you how to publish to Amazon, to Google Play, and to Apple. So that's all I have for you today, is just an introduction on what we're going to be doing in this course. And I'm going to go ahead and go now, just for now. We're going to meet again next Monday, so it's all good. But go ahead and investigate that Builderall app builder, just kind of playing it a little bit, and you don't have to do it. You won't break it, so it's okay. And I will be teaching you exactly how to get in there and get information and start building next week. So hopefully I'll see you guys next week. Have a wonderful week, and definitely make it a profitable week. All right? Focus on your business and build your business. All right. Bye, you guys. Have a great day.